So let's get started. So I do want to thank you all for coming. I do see a few people still coming in right now. So before we kind of jump into the actual course and do a walkthrough of it, I kind of wanted to just give you an idea as to how this all came about and the reasons for me doing all of this and just my own take on our entire situation. So first off, thanks for coming, and I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all staying healthy. And I truly appreciate you guys taking the time out of your schedules to be here. I did want to give a personal thanks to Dawn Tracy Hanley. She is the academic chair who got behind this whole project for college seminar, which is what it was a course shell was originally designed for, but it can be used in a lot of different areas. It's just a platform that you can really use in a lot of different ways. And I also want to give a special thanks to a lot of the administrators who were involved with supporting this project as well. So a few months back, when we first went remote back in March, I came across a passage that really helped me put things into perspective. And I really leaned on the general concept of it. I modified it and converted it to a personal, I guess we'll call it a pandemic mission statement that has really helped me keep me focused. So I'm just going to share it with you. So it goes as follows. So I understand we did not sign up for this, not for the pandemic, not for the social distancing, not for the sudden end of our collective life on campus, not for ubiquitous remote education, not for teaching remotely, not for learning from home, not for mastering new technologies, and not for varied access to learning materials. So it's important to understand and accept that we cannot perfectly replicate our classes online. Some assignments are no longer possible, and some expectations are no longer reasonable. I hope that through collaboration and support, we'll adjust and remain empathetic towards the situation. Nobody knows where this is going or what will essentially be needed to adapt. The only certainty is uncertainty. So everyone will need support and understanding in this unprecedented exogenous moment. And so I use this as a constant reminder that right now, in my own personal opinion, nothing is really going to be more important than leaning on each other, supporting each other, just to get through all of this. So for some of you who know me, I've always been an advocate for online learning environments, and I want to be very clear when I kind of express or say that remote learning is effective. Students can learn and excel under these conditions, but it is not to say that remote learning is for everyone. So not everyone will thrive in this environment. Many will struggle, many will want to give up, many are going to need support. And it's our responsibility to make sure that we are constantly connecting with our students, not just in the beginning of the semester, but throughout the entire semester. We must lead by example. We need to make it unequivocally clear to our students that we are here, we're not going anywhere, and we are ready to embrace the challenges ahead with them. So over the past few weeks, I really spent a lot of time reviewing my own courses, assessing my own skills, and really actively reaching out to my students for feedback on their online experiences at the college. And I kind of put a lot of that information together. I really did learn a lot, and succinctly put, there are basically two umbrella skills needed to successfully teach in an online learning environment. So you have your technical skills, which is using the technology. And then you have your practical skills, which is implementing your pedagogical strategies within the parameters of the available technology to effectively execute a course. So I want to briefly talk about the balance between the technical and tactical skills, and this is going to kind of lead towards the overall project. So let's say you have the technical skills and limited tactical skills. You'll be able to create a course, right? But you'll be struggling to implement effective methodology to deliver that course content. And if you have the tactical skills but limited technical skills, you could develop a strategy to execute a course. However, you're going to struggle to create the platform that would allow for that execution. So as educators, we all possess the tactical skills, the strategies, and we can all implement a curriculum using best pedagogical practices, and we know what variables have the largest effects on student success in face-to-face learning environments. The good news is that face-to-face strategies have tremendous overlap with online delivery. And when thinking about it, I think what's most frustrating is that we know what the students need from us. It's just we're struggling to provide what we know we're capable of. And maybe it's a time issue. Maybe it's a skill issue. Could be an amalgam of the two. Regardless of what the reason is, We have the ideas, know what we want to do, and are just struggling with that execution. And I use the word execution there on purpose. And this would imply that there is a tactical issue, but it's not. It's actually technical. Without the technical skills to set up the infrastructure we need, our tactical skills become hampered. So essentially, without strong technical skills, we become limited in our tactical capabilities. Our strategies, our tactics are bound by the orders of our technical capabilities. But as we improve our technical skills, we begin to decrease our limitations, which increases our delivery capabilities. And so we know skill development is crucial, but the catch is that this takes a lot of time. Developing an online course, it's a tremendous amount of time. And I believe that it's more so than face to face, because in addition to all the assessments, we have to convert all the content, we have to create a platform. And this process requires hours of very, very challenging extra work that honestly we were not trained for in advance, right? Where a lot of us are playing catch up. And so this brings us to the point of today's workshop. Now, I mentioned that we need the technical skills in order to maximize our tactics. However, I'm going to teach you the technical skills you need. Now, this is not a Blackboard training, and this may seem counterintuitive, but I believe it makes more sense to give you the time rather than the skills. So what I'm going to share with you today is a course template that's going to give you that head start that you may need by removing some of the short-term technical work, which will allow you to which will allow you to maximize those inherent tactical skills to create the environment that you and your students can both succeed in. Here's my marketing pitch. My wife's in marketing, so she helped me develop this. So I do want to give her a shout out. But basically, what we've created is a one-stop shop for you to develop your course. So it's a pre-made course template that serves as a plug-and-play shell with a lot of the technical support already built in. It's already embedded. So I want to mention before we jump into the actual shell and walking through it, it's not a required shell. So we have no intentions of infringing on academic freedom. This is a fluid project. It's going to adapt and hopefully improve over time. So the current setup of it is just a derivative of or a simplified version of my current course setup. And it's based on my personal style and preferences. But if that's not for you or you like to do things differently, you can adopt it and manipulate it to better fit your style and needs. And as you're going through it, if you have any feedback or recommendations, just let me know. This will always be a work in progress. So the feedback is definitely welcome. So without, I guess, making you listen to me for much more, let's just get right into what you came here to see. So I'm going to share my screen with you, pull up the course, and walk you through exactly what you'll have access to. Okay, so this is the course shell that was created. I can definitely zoom in a little bit. I'm just going to walk you through some of its features, the course layout, so you know exactly what you're looking at. So if you're going to take any of these components, you know where to find everything and what it is. So at the top, the first thing you'll notice is a different look and feel. So I've changed some of the colors. I've added a banner, which is very easily changed, and I can show you how to do that. And there's this Start Here section that it brings you into. So I'm just going to scroll in a little bit and walk you down the course menu on the left-hand side here. So the first thing you'll notice is faculty course introduction at the top, followed by a Start Here section. This is not clickable. This is just course resources, and everything under the course resources section is basically any information students are going to need that's relevant to the overall course. Then there's a remote college support section. Okay, and these are all the links to accessing any of the college support areas remotely. There's a student collaboration section where you can set up a collaborative environment for you and the students. And then all the weekly coursework is set up through modules down here. And I'm going to kind of walk you through each one of these areas step by step. The first thing I want to show you is, let me just pull that screen out, is this first area, faculty course introduction. Now, I had mentioned earlier that a lot of the technical support is built in. So the head start is basically setting up the template. Now, if you want to use all of this or any of this, it's going to take a lot of time to do that. You don't have to invest that time. You just need to copy it over. And now you can work on just uploading the information that you want to upload. So if you go right here, faculty course information, there are already some videos uploaded in here. So this is the faculty course introduction. It's a video walking you through the course shell. This shows you how to copy a course, customizing your course colors and start page, and also creating a course banner. So I'm actually going to show you how this works really briefly, just so you can get an understanding or an idea of how the videos all work and how all this lays out. I'm not going to play the whole video because you can watch it on your own time. But let's say you wanted to change the course banner. Like, let's say this isn't your style and you want to do something different. In the faculty course introduction, if you click on creating a course banner, here's how you can create a banner for your course. So in the event you don't like the one that's in there where it's black and white with the two sharks, and you want to do something totally different, make it your own, love that idea. Please redo it. Make it your own. Let the students know who you are. Let them get a feel for your personality. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. You're going to need access to PowerPoint. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of fast forward. Which, by the way, teaching style was under customization, and there it is. So now there's that new banner that I've created. So you can okay, so you can see how those videos are in there. So if you wanted to change the banner, you could just click on the link, and it's basically a walkthrough on how to change the banner, changing the colors on the side of the screen here. And also, if you want to copy this, you're going to need to know how to do that. So I put a video in here on how to copy a course over. So all of these little tutorials and support areas are going to be embedded inside this course. And every single section on the left-hand side, so you'll see course resources has its own faculty tutorial, right? So setting up your virtual classroom, uploading your syllabus, uploading your course contact info. Then under remote college support, there's a faculty tutorial here as well. Now, when we were creating this, one of the things that kind of became a concern was, well, if we're uploading all this support for faculty, what happens when students start going into the course? Now all of these videos are there for faculty and students are in there. So what we actually did was, and if you look under all the faculty support areas, you'll see this little box with a line through it. And if you see that box with a line through it, that means it's hidden from students. So watch what happens when I click on this button here, which is Enter Student Preview. When I click on Enter Student Preview, you're going to see a lot of this, which is strictly for faculty, disappear to the students. So when I enter Student Preview, now all those support links disappear. We wanted to do that because we wanted to hide the faculty support from the students while still giving the students the same experience. So those links that are designed for faculty support are strictly visible by faculty. They won't be visible by the students. And so that was something that we kind of threw in there to protect, you know, the privacy and of the faculty, and just, you know, remove a lot of the extra links that could potentially confuse some students while they're going through the course process. Okay, so let's go through this real quickly, step by step. If you notice, when we log into this course, normally it goes to the announcement section. But if you notice, what's actually here is a different area. It's called Start Here. I actually changed the entrance page to my courses to the Start Here page for the first 2 weeks. And then after 2 weeks, I then change it to the announcements as the entrance page. The reason I changed the page is because when my students come in, I want to make sure they're going straight to the information I want them to access. And so when they click on course information, you know, in here, I'll put a copy of the course syllabus. I'll put an orientation in there. I even put a quiz of the course syllabus that gets graded for students to take. So under the course information, here's what's already been put in. So there's a virtual orientation. This is a blank link. It's just there as an example, but you could add your course syllabus there. And this way, the first thing the students see when they go into your course is the orientation and the syllabus. And what I also do is create a video of me walking through the course step by step, just like I'm doing with you right now, for students to watch, so that when they go in there, they can see exactly how the course is laid out. And it really does alleviate a lot of potential confusion that may ensue. So that's really the Start Here section. And then if I wanted to change it, I could just change that. There's actually a video in here on how to change the the starting page, but that's just basically under customization, teaching style, and then entry point. I would just change start here to announcements. And if I save that, it would, I'm not saving it, but if I saved it, it would just make the announcements the starting page. So it's just a couple of clicks to make that adjustment. All right, so as we move down here, there's a couple of, quick little features. Core syllabus, really straightforward, the announcement section. This virtual classroom or office is basically a renamed link for Blackboard Collaborate. If you're not going to use Collaborate and you're going to use Zoom or some other digital platform, you could just upload your own personal office in here and delete this one if you want. But this is basically just Blackboard Collaborate renamed. But students may not know what Blackboard Collaborate is, but they will know what your virtual classroom is or what your virtual office is. I also have an example of Contact Professor here. So this is, you can see item is hidden from students. So this is just an example. But I have my headshot up here. I want students to know who I am, what I look like. And then I also have office hours by appointment only using the following link. One of the challenges that I kind of encountered once we went remote was I had a ton of emails from students. And anything I could do to reduce the number of emails was a win in my book. So every time a student wanted to make an appointment with me for office hours, they had to email me asking when I was available. Then I would send them my availability. And then if it worked, they would pick a time. If it didn't work, they'd have to send me a time. I mean, it could take four emails just to set up a meeting. I use this app right here. It's called Calendly. It's actually an app on my phone as well. So if I click on that, it's basically going to take me to office hours. Click on that, brings up a calendar, and you can preset the dates and times of your availability. You can set the times that you want to make yourself availability. The students will pick the time they want. I preset this. So enter your name, which class are you in, what should I be prepared to discuss with you, is there anything I should know beforehand? And then if I click schedule event, I'm going to get an email on my Google account. It's going to go straight into my Google Calendar, which I'll get a notification about on my phone. And there's a link that I've embedded in here, which takes them to my virtual office. And so now I don't have to worry about a lot of extra emails or anything like that related to creating office hours and coordinating with students. So that really was something that relieved a lot of the pressure and a lot of the stress of extra emails. And what's nice about that app is you can decide how many meetings you want to allow to be scheduled per day and how long each meeting is going to be slotted for. So the way I have it set up is 30-minute meeting sessions and no more than 2 meetings scheduled per day, because I don't want 25 students trying to schedule a meeting in one day. It's just not doable. So you can actually set some of those parameters up and use that as an app just to make things a little bit easier on your end. And my students used it over the summer. So they would email me, and it's actually part of my email, click here to set up a meeting. And I would just say, hey, use the link at the bottom of my signature and, pick a day that works best, day and time that works best for you. So that's kind of how I set up my Contact Professor. And there's a few other things here as well. The Respondus Lockdown Browser, if you're going to be giving tests, that is basically a way to prevent cheating to some extent. I just sat in on a workshop offered by the Center for Innovative Pedagogy the other day. They do a really great job of explaining it. So if you are interested in that, you can definitely reach out to them. This area here, in my opinion, is probably the most important and the most robust area that, if nothing else, you should definitely consider copying this information over. So what this is it's all the links you and your students are going to need to be successful at the college in a remote environment. So for example, if I click on college support areas, all the information for the college is all alphabetized and linked in here. So let's say a student has a question about financial aid. So I would just have to go to F, click on financial aid offices, and it's going to take me right to the web page. And it's all already embedded in there. So you have the individual areas of the college all here, and if there are some missing, just let me know. I can always add more in, or you could add them in as well. But then I also have the aggregated sites up here. So for academics homepage, this is where you're going to get just the overall academic section. And I've added in like what you will find in the academics homepage, current students homepage, and then the About Suffolk homepage. So that's all going to be under the college support areas. Under email and tech support, you're going to see here how students can kind of get the help they need with the tech and email if they're having problems. So here's how you can set up your email for iPhone and iPad. Here's how to do it for Android. Let's say a student needs to reach out to tech support. If they click on this, it's a quick guide to tech at Suffolk, and they can get all the information they're going to need from Suffolk's tech support right there. And then resetting your password, that's there as a resource as well. With regards to Suffolk Online, this is really awesome, and this is really driven by the Center for Innovative Pedagogy, who do really just a wonderful job getting everything up and all the content ready to go. They do all the Blackboard training. They're amazing. They really do a wonderful job with all of this. And this is everything a lot of your students are going to need. I put in here a Blackboard app, the student guide to Blackboard. If they click on this, right, here's the student guide to Blackboard and all the information students may need there. Here's a Blackboard orientation, online support, online success strategies, how to be a successful remote learner from a student perspective, so time management, reading comprehension and writing skills. There's a lot here, and especially if you're using this for college seminar, this particular Suffolk online support area could be 1 week's worth of assignments or or one of the modules, and have the students access this information on their own and go through it. The one link over here that really has been a lifesaver and has saved me a lot of time and headaches is this Blackboard support area. This is where students can go to get the support they need for Blackboard, right? So here's the phone number where they can call in with the hours. Here's the Blackboard ticketing system, and here's a Blackboard video tutorial. So a question just came in. If a student doesn't know their email login info, how can they access Blackboard? The answer is they really can't, because they need their college email username and password to access Blackboard. So if they don't know that, they're going to have to reach out to the college to get that information. But if they don't know their username and password, they're not going to be able to get into the course at all. And so they're probably going to, I think there is a link here for that, but they're going to have to reach out to the college for that information for sure. But they should have that before the first day of class. They all have that usually written down and stored somewhere. Yeah, registrar can reset passwords too. And there is a link to registrar. So if you don't know how to find that on the website, you could just go to college support areas, and under our registrar's offices are right here. So you can just always send them this link as well. Great question though. Yeah, if they don't have their username or password, they can't log in. They could technically log into the remote class sessions. One of the things that I'll do is in the virtual classroom or office, when you set up your course, if you're using Zoom, that's different. But when you set this up, you could have it set up where you can copy a guest link and email that link out, kind of like how I emailed you all the link to this room, even though you're not in this course yet. You can still have guests in, so they can still get access to the classroom until they figure out what their passwords are. So even if students don't have the username or password, I'll still always email this link out the first day of class, just so students can get in, whether they know their username or password or not. And if you're using Zoom, you could do the same thing as well. Just send your Zoom information out. So that would be another way to get around that. There's information on how to download Office 365 and then the link to the library. So that's all in here and it's all available. And like I said, this is really the online support, right? Functioning as a college student, but remotely, right? When we're on campus, we know where to go when we need support for specific things. But remotely, we need to know who to contact. And that's a little bit different. And a lot of our students don't necessarily know how to navigate our website effectively. And they may not even know what to look up for specific questions. So if you kind of divert them to these areas, that's something you can do. My students kind of know that I have 5 words that I always throw out there, and they go as follows. I am not your secretary. So it is not my job to tell students when assignments are due, because I've already given them that information in Blackboard. So when a student says, hey, when's module 2 due? I'm going to say, I'm not your secretary. Go check the syllabus. If a student says, hey, I have a question about financial aid, I'm going to say, hey, go to the college support areas in the course and click on the financial aid link. It's all there. And so the more you delegate back to the students and ask your students to self-advocate for themselves, you're essentially empowering them to learn how to be an online college student. So it's not that I don't want questions, and it's not that I'm not going to answer questions. It's that I'm not going to answer questions that they can answer for themselves. And I will guide them in the right direction, but I'm not going to do it for them. And if I do it for them from the very beginning, they're going to start constantly emailing me questions that they really can answer on their own. So one of the reasons I've embedded a lot of this information in here is because, yeah, there's a lot of work on the front end, but it saves me a ton of time and it makes it easier for me to organize things later on in the semester as things really start to ramp up. So the more information I can make available to students, the less I have to worry about students being confused and being unable to find information. Now, one of the things that I had gotten in my course feedback when I was teaching some of my courses online was we understand the environment, but we really miss working with our friends. We'd really like to interact with people in the class a little more. So this is the student collaboration area, and the discussion board, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, that's here. And there is a tutorial for the discussion board right here, so you can click on that. And there's also this thing that I've actually piloted this summer that really worked out well. And it's called student groups. And in student groups, there's nothing created yet, but you can create groups, and I work through all this in the tutorial, and you can have students create their own groups. They can self-enroll, or you can just randomize groups and have students automatically put into groups on their own. What's really nice about this is it's a more intimate setting, right? So instead of it being a class-wide discussion, you can have four students in one group working together. And what's nice about the groups is when you create them, and I'll just do random enroll for now, when you're creating the groups, you can decide what tools the students will have access to. So you can have them, create blogs, they'll have access to each other's emails, they can exchange files, they can delegate tasks to each other. I usually go to allow all group members to create and access recordings. What this does is it allows those students in this group to create their own Blackboard Collaborate session. So just like we're working as a group of 12 here, we can do this, but allow our students as a group of 4 to meet, record their session, and actually have a project designed together, and they can share their screens with each other. They can upload files together. So what I usually do is, instead of me lecturing a class for an hour and 15 minutes, what I'll say is, all right, I'm going to break you up into groups. Here's what each group is responsible for presenting on. And the students will go, they'll do the work together, and then they'll come in when I would meet with them, and they're going to present their findings. And I'll just kind of be there to oversee the content, ask questions, and just keep the conversation driving forward. And it takes a lot of the pressure off of me to speak into a computer screen with half the screens blank, where I don't know who's there and who isn't. And it puts the students in control of the content and in control of the information. And I think that's, at least from what I've experienced and the feedback I've gotten from students, it's a little bit of a more engaging environment, and the students seem to enjoy it a little bit more as well. So, for those of you who are interested in trying to figure out ways to get students to collaborate, those are the 2 sections I've added there. And then the last thing, these are the modules, and this is really where all of my content gets embedded. So the first thing is under faculty module support, there's the setup tutorial, adding and removing side menu links, which are all these links over here, creating a test, creating assignments. There's a textbook tutorial link, and also using Microsoft Word to create Blackboard tests. This one is a bit on the tricky side. I'm not going to really get into it right now, but just know it exists. And if you are interested in learning it, I would reach out to the Center of Innovative Pedagogy. They taught me how to use this, and then I kind of took it from there. So if you are interested in using Word documents to create a test on Blackboard, you can just reformat your Word document and it will upload seamlessly into Blackboard so that there's no issues, and you can just upload tests that way if you already have them created, which is actually a really convenient feature. Now, let's get into these modules, because this is really the meat or the beefy part of this course module. Now, this is my own style. You can reformat this any way you want. But if you notice here at the very top, I have my textbook or OER. And so I've already embedded some links here. This one is from the college seminar community. So this is there as an example. If you want to use this, their chapter's already loaded. I personally use this link, which is sorry, not Lululemon. I almost said Lululemon like clothing. Lumen Learning. And so you can see there's a lot of information already there. But you don't have to use these. They're just examples of what you can use. So if you're not interested in any of this, you could just delete it and upload your own digital copy. And if you're using a hard copy, then you could just delete that whole link in general. When we get into the modules, whoops, let me zoom out a little bit. I'm just going to click on Module 1, accessing college resources remotely. And when I worked with Dawn on this, we kind of set up modules 1 and 2 specifically for a very specific reason. The first module, if you can't access the college resources remotely, you're going to struggle in general at the college. So we thought that was the first thing we really should be introducing our students to. And then the second thing is preparing students for remote education. We really want to get them able to access the college's information and prepared to be in online learning in the first 2 weeks of this course so that they can maintain or develop those skills throughout the semester. And then you can kind of play around with the modules moving forward however you feel is best for you. So I'm going to go into Module 1, and you're going to see some weird stuff in there at first. So the first thing you see is the Start Here access link. The reason I put that in there is because, yeah, they're supposed to start here, but let's say they're like, I just want to go to the module. When they go to Module 1, and the first thing they see is Start Here access link, if I click on that, look where it takes me back to. It takes me back to Start Here. So they can't start Module 1 without, in some capacity, clicking on that link. So I know they're going to get there. And I do implement a little bit more of an advanced strategy in my actual courses where I have a syllabus quiz, and they cannot access any of the course content until they get above a 70 on that quiz. So all of the course content is locked until they pass that quiz. Once they pass that quiz, now I know they're ready to move forward. So that's a little bit of an advanced strategy. You don't have to implement it, but it does exist where you could do things like that. Okay, and when you click on this, now these are modules. A module is pretty much, I call it a fancy folder. It's just a way to organize a folder and organize content in a folder, but it's basically an organized folder. When you click on this, you'll see there's already some information in here. This is the college resources and links, which is basically that link on the left I had shown you earlier. So if I click on this, it's going to take the students right to this area. So remember, we want students to learn how to access the college's information remotely. So an easy assignment to do for Module 1 might be, hey, using the links available, take a look at 5 or 6 different areas in the college and report back this particular information on it, and let's discuss it. And that could be part of your Module 1 assignment. That's, really straightforward. Now, one of the things I like to do in my modules is called a lesson plan. You don't have to use these. It's just what I prefer, and I'll show you why I prefer to use these. And also in the faculty tutorial, it does show you how to set up the modules and how to get those tutorials going. So that's going to be this module setup tutorial. Okay, but basically what a lesson plan is, it gives the students an overview of what to expect. So when you click on this, it looks a bit confusing and busy. There's a lot here. So you just have to fill this stuff in. And I actually have one of my other courses pulled up. I'd like to show you what it looks like from the student perspective when they go in here. So this is my Lifetime Fitness class. And if I click on muscular flexibility, no, wrong course, sorry. I want to go to my weight training course. Here we go. So if I'm in my weight training course and I enter student preview, if I go to module 5 or module 2, let's go to module 2. Okay. So module 2 is stretching, lifting, and spotting techniques. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit just to make it easier to see. Close this down. Now, when a student clicks on this, this is what the lesson plan is going to look like to them. So you can see it's all filled out here. So here's what they need to do. Read chapter 2, upload their videos, and take the quiz. This might be the most important piece of information, estimated time to complete. We want students to be aware of how long it's going to take to complete the work we're assigning them. if they underestimate that workload, they're going to miss work. And as soon as they start missing work, they fall behind and then we lose them. And we want to make sure we're setting those expectations clear from the very beginning. When is this available until? Well, this one was for my summer class, so this is when it closes. Here are the objectives of this particular module. These are all the assignments and the subject area. So when students go in here, the first thing they do is get a real nice breakdown of what's expected. And then remember I told you the module's like a fancy folder? So on the left-hand side here are all the assignments that they're responsible for. So if I click on this arrow, it'll take me to the quiz, right? And if I click to launch it, it'll launch the quiz. And I can also just click on, proper grip, and it'll take me to that particular assignment. So that's what the lesson plan looks like from the student perspective. And it is a little different than just uploading files into a folder and saying, all right, here's the readings, here's what you need to do, so have at it. So that's kind of the lesson plan feature. You don't have to use those if you're not interested or if it gets a little tricky. You can just upload folders with the content in there. Yeah, I see someone has their hand up. What's up? Do you have a question? Might be typing it in. I don't see their mic on. Or maybe they were just playing with buttons. So if you have a question, just let me know. So that's basically how this course is laid out and all the modules and everything that's there. It really just breaks everything down for you in just in a clean way. When we were developing this, we wanted to really make sure we found a balance between what students can manage and what faculty can manage. And so while we can get crazy with all these features, the most important thing was that the links were in there, the information that everybody was going to need is in there, and now everyone can use it. So it's usable by the students, it's organized, it's usable by the faculty with the support built in. So, I do want to highlight, this is not a Blackboard training session. I recommend, you take a look at this, get some ideas, and then if you need help with some of the technical skills, you reach out to the Center for Innovative Pedagogy. So they're the ones who are best fit to serve you in that particular area. So I just kind of want to wrap things up and then I'll start taking some questions. So in summation, the reality of our situation is that we are limited in large by time, right? We don't have a lot of time before the fall starts to develop a lot of the technical skills we're going to need, figure out our tactical approach, and then create all the content and assessments and put it all together. So my hope is that this shell course will provide you that head start you need to focus your time and energy on the development and delivery of your course content, because really that's what we were hired to do, was to get that content to the students. This situation kind of threw a lot of curveballs at us and made it a bit more challenging. And so this head start is kind of what I think a lot of people may need. So I want to personally give a shout out to the CIP, Center for Innovative Pedagogy. They really are amazing. They do a wonderful job preparing faculty for online education. I personally owe them a debt of gratitude, and I really can't thank them enough. They're the ones who trained me, and without them, I really wouldn't be able to create a lot of this, and none of the work you see today happens. So I do want to leave you with this one final thought. Whenever there's a breach of the old standards, there are opportunities for the bold. And so I say, let's be bold. Let's innovate. Let's rebuild so that when all this is over, we can return better than we were before, right? So I just want to remind you, online learning is effective. And students can excel under these conditions. We must lead by example. We need to make it unequivocally clear to our students that we're here, we're not going anywhere, we're ready to take on the challenges with them, and we're here for them. So for those of you who came, I really do appreciate it. Thank you for coming. I hope you all enjoy your semesters, and if you have any comments or questions, I'll definitely take them now, for sure.